What's going on, everybody? My name is Denzel Williams and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about the iPad mini 6 to see if it's still worth the buy in 2023. Now, I've had a lot of people ask me about this particular iPad. It's been out for a couple years, so I wanted to see if it was worth the hype or if it's something we should pass on. So with that being said, sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Now, with the unboxing, Apple keeps it pretty simple, as we all know. The first thing you see when you unbox it is the actual iPad itself. From there, you get to see the packet that has all of your user guide information as well as your safety information. And also up underneath there, you have the USB-C charging cable as well as your power adapter. Now, one of my main gripes with Apple is the fact that with every iPhone, we don't even get a power adapter, but with the iPads, they throw in a power adapter. Now, I'm not gonna say anything. I just want y'all to know my frustrations when it comes to that. But I'm starting to get a mean collection of power adapters when using Apple stuff. So I'm guessing I maybe can look past that. But anyway, I chose the purple color just because I wanted something different. I wanted something to distinguish itself from everything I had, because everything I have kind of has a silver tone to it, space gray, and I wanted just something different. I wanted something more colorful. I wanted something more playful. And I think with all of the colors that Apple came out with, which was pink, starlight, and space gray, I was just like, the purple one just seems like a perfect fit for me. And this is my first iPad, so I wanted something that really was like, when I see it, I kind of get a little bit of joy from it. The purple kind of brings out a little bit more happiness, and that's why I went with the color. But feel free to, pick which one that you like. But I definitely think this purple colorway is exceptionally done, because it just looks really good with or without the case. And I just think that is really just one of those ones where it kind of nailed it and knocked it out of the park. So speaking about the case, I went with the Folio case just because it was something thin and I wanted something that wasn't too bulky. I wanted something that was lightweight and just easy just to put the iPad in and just get up and go, because I didn't want any bulky cases. I didn't want the outer box. I didn't want that because I think it was going to take away from the actual design of it. I wanted something to really showcase how thin this particular product is and how nice it really is. So I went with the Folio case, and just feel free to get whichever one that you wanted to go with, but I think the Folio case looks great on it. And of course, it's that same purple lavender colorway that I think is done perfectly. So now with the second gen Apple Pencil, again, this is my first iPad and also my first look into the Apple Pencil, but I definitely don't think it's something that you have to have day one if you were to get an iPad. I don't think it's something that you just truly need. And there's also other alternatives out there as well too. They may not work as effective, but you do have alternatives that are a little bit less expensive than the actual Apple Pencil. So be on the lookout for those as well too. But for me, like I said, I don't think it's something that you need day one. I think it's something that you can wait on, but I do think that it elevates the product to be able to use the Apple Pencil and being able to draw and use it just to navigate on the iPad itself. So I think it elevates it, but do you need it like day one? I don't think so. So if it's something that you wanted to kind of just hold off on, you could, because you still can use the iPad for what it, traditionally used for. But I think the Apple Pencil takes it to the next level. So again, keep that in mind, because the Apple Pencil is a little bit steep as far as price. So be sure to check out Amazon and see if they have it's on sale. I was able to get it on a pretty good sale as well. So just check those options out, or see if you can get it kind of, eBay or anything of that nature to kind of help you with that price point, because it is a little bit expensive. But like I said, I don't think it's something that you need day one. You can go without it and get it at a later date. Now, going with the refresh rate, I was seeing a lot of comments from different people saying like, oh, I wish this was 120 Hertz. The refresh rate is gonna have some jelliness in it when you kind of, move up and down on the iPad. I mean, to me as a casual user, I really didn't see that much of it. It wasn't something that I was like, I got it, you know what I mean? It wasn't one of those. I think that it's honestly something that I feel like the normal everyday user wouldn't really notice. But I think for those who are power users and they use a lot of different various devices, and they also have, one of those iPad Pros, then you maybe can see the difference between that. But for someone who this is your first iPad, or you're just using this for leisure or productivity, just to use on a day-to-day, I don't think it's something that you have to worry about. So for me, I would probably get the whole jelly screen effect. I would probably just kind of throw that out because I didn't experience as much, and if I did experience it, it's not something that I really was just like, this is hindering me from doing whatever I need to do. So I would probably just get rid of that whole idea. But going back into how it feels, the actual iPad itself is very much so, it fits in the hand. Now, for those who have smaller hands or just something that, you're used to, let's say for example, you have the Pro Max, that you have the phone that's a little bit bigger, the iPad mini fits really comfortably in your hand. And it was one of those things where it kind of shocked me because I didn't think that it was gonna fit so comfortably. I thought it was gonna be a bit bulky and I thought it was gonna be a bit awkward to hold, but as I started to use it more and more, it became something that was a little bit more natural because it fits perfectly in the hand, and the actual screen, the 8-inch screen, is not far away from your thumbs. So when you're typing on it, or if you're using it even in landscape mode, you can kind of still get away with using the keyboard, and it doesn't feel so far away from you. But even when you're using it within portrait, that was what I call it, portrait mode, you kind of just, it just feels a little bit more comfortable. So that was one of the things that really just shocked me because I didn't think that it was gonna be like that. I thought it was gonna be a bit, take some getting used to. Now, I say that to say it does take some getting used to in general, but coming straight out the box, it's not something that it's like, whew, it's gonna take me some time to get used to. But I think that it's one of those that it kind of grows on you as you use it. And for me, it was definitely more comfortable than what I thought. As with most tablets, you're going to get fingerprints all over this, and it can be a bit annoying. So I would probably suggest maybe looking into seeing if there are any type of screen protectors that can kind of help cut down on that. But for the most part, it's a tablet, so you got to understand it's going to be a fingerprint magnet. So you're gonna see the smudges, you're gonna get the touches, but I would probably maybe look into seeing if you can maybe cut down on that with maybe a screen protector. So just be on the lookout for those. I'm pretty sure you can find them on Amazon for next to nothing as well too. So, but going back into the feel, the actual design of the iPad itself, you can see that it has the power button at the top, which also doubles as your fingerprint ID. So from there, you're able to, initial setup, you're able to use your fingerprint to get your Touch ID to unlock, as well as to, purchase apps also. So it took some getting used to just going from Face ID to Touch ID, because with Touch ID, you're able to just hold your, phone in your hand and you're able to, just get into your device. But with this, it kind of forces you to actually touch it using whichever fingerprint that you've set up. And that, like I said, it took some getting used to, but to me, I kind of enjoyed it a little bit better just because my hands are already on the device and I don't have to worry about looking away or looking off or, whatever comes with it when it comes to the Face ID. I can just tap it at the top and I'm into the device and I'm able to, do what I need to do. In addition to the Touch ID, you do have the volume rockers. So those change depending on where you have the iPad. So I thought that was kind of different, kind of cool. I don't know, but depending on where you have it, the up button becomes the down button and the down button becomes the up button. So it was a little different, but I don't know if it's genius or just like gimmicky, but for me, it works out, but it does take some getting used to be able to be like, okay, I don't know, maybe this is up, maybe this is down. So be on the lookout for that. But I thought it was a little bit different, but I definitely think it comes in clutch when you need it to. Going into the actual outside of it as well, you do have 4 speakers, 2 up top, 2 on the bottom. That gives you pretty good sound. I'm not saying that it's studio quality sound, but if you're in a room and you just want to play something off of that, whether it be music or a particular video, the audio does sound relatively good. It's kind of the same as you would on an iPhone or anything like that. So it sounds pretty good. Like I said, you probably would be better off using headphones, but if you're just playing something out loud and watching a YouTube video on how to cook something, you're still able to play it, and it's relatively loud as well too. So, but nothing too mind blowing about that. But again, 4 speakers definitely gives you a better sound than you would with your phone. As we discussed earlier, the iPad mini has a USB-C port. So now you can take those external SSD drives and plug them directly into the iPad, or if you have some other USB-C enabled device that you can pair up to it, you can plug that into the bottom of it as well. So I think it kind of takes you to the next level when using this for everyday, day-to-day purposes. So now you can kind of use this into your workflow because of the USB-C port. You can take this and transfer those files accordingly as you go versus having to always be near your laptop for whatever reason. So I think that's a great job by Apple to be able to kind of integrate this and really make this mini an actual somewhat of a powerhouse for its size. And I think that's where this kind of gives a little bit of an edge over some of your other tablets out there in the market as well too. So the iPad mini has a 12 megapixel front facing camera and a 12 megapixel back facing camera. But the cool thing with the front facing camera is the fact that it now has center stage. So with center stage, it keeps you in frame and pans the room and making sure that you are the focal point of your video conference calls. So if you're on FaceTime or if you're on Zoom, you don't have to worry about being out of frame or moving. The camera follows you accordingly and makes sure you stay in frame every step of the way. Now the back-facing camera does shoot 4K film at 60 frames per second. If you know what I mean, if you wanted to do that, I'm probably not gonna be using the camera for any purposes other than just the front-facing camera. So I highly doubt I'll be able to use the back-facing camera, but for those who are out in the field that you may have to take pictures, whether it's real estate or construction or something like that, you may want to be able to use that camera, and you have, by all means, you can do so. But I definitely think the cool feature of the camera is the center stage function, and I definitely think you will like that, again, if you're using this for work purposes and Zoom teleconference calls. So definitely something I think you would like and enjoy. Now going into performance, the iPad mini is powered by the A15 Bionic chip. So if you saw my Apple TV 4K review, and even if you have the latest iPhone, you understand exactly what you're getting out of this A15 Bionic chip. Now you couple that with the iPadOS, which allows you to do multiple apps at the same time on the screen, you're able to see exactly how powerful this device is, and it can take you to the next level as far as productivity. Now, one thing I liked about the actual iPadOS is the fact that you can split the keyboard. So being able to split the keyboard, it kind of makes it to where you have two pieces of the same keyboard, but it fits a little bit more comfortable in your hands. And you can also shift that keyboard to make it so where it's just floating on the screen. So it kind of gives you that one tap like you would with your phone, but you have this one tap where you only using one hand to be able to type on the keyboard. So I don't necessarily use that function as much, but for those who do, I think you have that option on there as well. So again, this particular iPad was really mind-blowing to me because I wasn't expecting it to be able to perform the way that it did, and being able to handle those apps such as CapCut, which will be probably one of the more intensive apps that I use to edit, and a little bit of Lightroom as well too, and it handled it with a breeze. So as far as use, and I guess I would say future-proof, you have it covered with the iPad mini. As I've stated earlier, Apple Arcade for the iPad mini is still an amazing pastime. So you're able to go into the Apple Arcade and download a bunch of different games that really highlight and showcase that A15 Bionic chip. So going back into using those games, it was really fun to be able to take my Xbox controller, pair it up to it, and just play a few games. And I think to me, like that, it kind of takes it to the next level. I think all of a sudden you have this mini console that you're able to carry around. And like I said, it may not be just for, if you don't have to necessarily have a controller, but I think you're still able to use what you already have and being able to maximize this by adding on these extra accessories. I think it definitely takes it to the next level. And for me, it was fun playing those games because, now you got a little bit more control with the controller. So it kind of it immerses you in the game a bit more. So definitely something that I look forward to. And again, Apple Arcade, if you don't have it and you're not a huge fan of it yet, normally it comes with like some type of 3-month trial. So just check it out, try it out, and I definitely think you'll find something on there that you'll enjoy. So going into battery life, after using it for a little bit and just using it for days on end, it seems as if the battery life was about a day, depending on how much you use it. So for me, I was using it to kind of edit, make a few edits, and also play games and also use it to watch TV. So it lasted me about a day before needing, to be charged. So I would say that's, not as bad because you got to look at it. This is a smaller device, has a smaller battery. So, the more you use it, of course, it's going to burn the battery. But in comparison to those bigger tablets that could last you for upwards of a few days, I think this is kind of not going to be that. It's not going to be one that lasts you for a long time, but at the bare minimum, if you're using it a lot, a day, it'll give you a day. But if you're not using it and you're just, here, on a little bit there, I think you can at least stretch out for about a couple days, because it lasted me for about 3 days when I wasn't actually using it. I was just kind of just checking a few emails and stuff like that. So it lasted me about almost 3 days before it got down to a low charge where I really had to recharge it. But for the most part, I think if you're using it often and heavily, probably a day. And if not, you can probably get by with a couple days for sure. Going into the price point, I think that's probably where a lot of people are just like, should I make this decision? Should I not? And again, this is a 2-year-old product, so it's been out for a couple years, and I think people are just now starting to get into the wave of the iPad mini. But I think that's also where people are just like, I don't really know if I want to pay this much for this type of device. So the 64 gigabytes starts at $499 for the Wi-Fi only version, and then the 256 Wi-Fi only version comes in at $649. So again, there is no in between. You only get 64 and 256. So I ended up getting the 256 just because I wanted to have that added space, that added storage. But for the most part, you can kind of buy the cloud storage and do the same exact thing. So I know a lot of people who bought the 64 gig and they just kind of use their cloud storage, which that cloud storage, if you get the terabyte, you won't have to worry about it. So I think that you want to, weigh if you needed that extra storage or not. And then plus, if you're already paying for it, I think you can probably get away with the 64 gig. But also with this being a 2-year-old product, you probably can find some better options on eBay, or even, a local tech shop that may have an iPad mini that was lightly used. You maybe can go and check those out and see if you can get a pretty good discount or a pretty good deal on it. Like I said, I think more and more people are starting to find deals out there. So I think you still have that market to be able to go out there and see if there's something that you can find for a little bit cheaper to be able to hold that in. And it's, nothing wrong with buying, gently used items, and I'm all for it. So if you can find a good deal out there, go ahead and take advantage of that for sure. So you're probably wondering, who is the iPad mini for? I think that it's for anyone who's probably not gonna be your quote unquote pro user. I think it's someone who's gonna use this for leisure purposes and everyday tasks, of whether it's using Microsoft Office, whether it's OneNote, PowerPoint, or if you're using CapCut to make short form content, Lightroom to edit photos, and being able to use something that's on the go. I think this is going to be the perfect device to you. Do I think this is going to replace your laptop? Probably not. I don't want you to get into the idea of like, this is going to be able to replace what I can do with a laptop, because that's not what this is for. I think this is used in addition to your laptop to be able to provide you with something that's going to give you the mobility to be able to use it, as well as the leisure to be able to continue to keep watching movies, watching TV shows, whatever the situation may be. Because once you start to look into how the iPad mini works, you're gonna be like, I'm probably gonna need my laptop to kind of work through a few things. But I think as far as everyday usage, leisure, students would be great. Like if you are a student, I think this is a perfect go-to item. If you're going to school or you're going into a summer camp or whatever the situation may be, you're going to love this item, because I think you add on the Apple Pencil to this, it takes it to the next level. And then from there, you can kind of go into more of a drawing and things of that nature to be more creative. So, but again, if you're trying to use this to replace a laptop, I don't think that this is going to be it. But if you're going to use this for everyday purposes, leisure, casual use, productivity apps, being able to stay organized, I think this is going to be the perfect device for you. And I think it's a green light to go buy and see if you, like I said, if you can find some cheaper alternatives, like whether, like I said, eBay or another tech shop that maybe, sell gently used tech items, you can maybe go find you a nice iPad there as well too. But As far as those who are going to be using this for pro purposes, this is not your device because you're going to get into a different segment because those particular items are going to carry a higher price point, but they're molded for those users who are going to be using those. So again, stick to the leisure, stick to the everyday usage, and I definitely think iPad mini can be the one for you. As I talked about earlier, the iPad mini has been out roughly about 2 years and some change. So the question pops up, is it still worth the buy in 2023? And to answer that question, I definitely think it's a yes. For me, it was a no-brainer to buy just due to the fact that I needed something that was going to differentiate itself and be able to be used in my day-to-day workflow of being able to be use productivity apps and also somewhat of editing, and at the same time just leisure. I want to be able to have something to watch and just relax while I'm working on my laptop. I wanted to be able to have something on the side that could really just be tucked away, and when I'm on airplanes or I'm traveling or whatever the situation may be, I can have something with me that has everything I need and more. And then you accompany that with the actual Apple Pencil. I think it takes it to the next level and really gives you something else that you can have and really mold to fit into your lifestyle. So I definitely think it's a go, and if you're in the market for one, go ahead and check it out. And like I said, just make sure you find something that fits your budget, and maybe even check out to see if you can find it secondhand somewhere else. Because at the end of the day, I think Apple makes pretty solid products when it comes to their tablets, and this iPad mini is nothing different. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit back and watch this video. Hopefully you're able to get a better understanding that the iPad mini is the right one for you. And if not, maybe it's the right one for one of your friends. So as always, be sure to leave a like, tap that subscribe button, and send this out to a few people. So until next time, much love, peace.